Straya, how are you going? How you going? You're right, you should be. It is NBA Straya's best and worst of the day for Tuesday, November 18, all day. I'm your host, James Clements, here in Larryama Studios. Let's get into it with a bit of the old daily. Oh, is it a whip around as a gym? Yes, it's the daily whip around. What's all the stuff you need to know from today? Well, Victor Wembanyama is out. That's right. No more Wemby for the next couple of weeks. He'll be reevaluated in a couple of weeks. The Spurs saying, hey, that left calf strain, yeah, we're going to be pretty careful with that, considering that you're 7'40". So, yeah. I also don't love, but Ja Morant also got ruled out for the next couple of weeks, also with the calf strain. And I was just thinking about the difference between the sheer size of those calves. Right? Think about Ja Morant, by any measurement, a largish human being. And then you have Wemby, whose calf and that calf muscle could probably wrap around the earth at least twice. It's just insane. So anyway, Wemby's out for 2 weeks. It's pretty interesting for the Spurs from an actual, winning games perspective. But they do have Luke Cornett. They do have Kelly Olynyk. They've got some serviceable backups. They don't have Dylan Harper, of course, at the moment, but they do have De'Aaron Fox. They've got Stephon Castle. They should be okay-ish, but it really sort of knocks them down a tier, these day-to-day, game-to-game ventures where you're oh, God. Whereas with Wemby, yep, they'll probably win that because he'll have a 28-15 and 4 block game. So it gets a little bit sketchy. And also gets a little bit sketchy for Wemby's chances of winning stuff like Defensive Player of the Year or MVP. Because, you've got a 65-game threshold, and yes, he's only going to miss a couple of weeks here, seemingly, but it also makes the margin for error if he misses any other time throughout the rest of the season a little bit more dicey. So keep an eye on that. So Wemby out. Ja Morant also out for a couple of weeks for the Grizzlies. They were already in struggle town. He left that game yesterday in the first quarter, and yeah, it doesn't look good. And the problem is, in the olden days, the Grizzlies would be well, we don't have Ja. We might be better. Unfortunately, they no longer have a Desmond Bain, and it's getting very thin on the ground in terms of actual useful NBA players for the Grizzlies. So, yeah, that's not great. Not great at all. The Grizzlies already in a tailspin. Jeez. Hopefully this just means more Cedric Coward time and just let him go ham. Anyway, then Giannis also got injured today. So against the Cleveland Cavaliers, he left early with a groin strain, was crushing it. And Doc Rivers after the game was yeah, look, we're going to go get imaging done on it tomorrow. So they'll do an MRI. Hopefully it's nothing too crazy serious because, look, the Bucks, at the moment, you've got a Knicks team that's looking a little bit wobbly. You got a Cleveland team that's sort of still missing Darius Garland, is sort of pointing in the right direction. You got a Detroit team that doesn't have anyone healthy and is still winning games. The Bucks, if there was ever a time for them to pounce, it's kind of like now, right? Just keep winning games, keep putting the pressure on, try to just stick in that top 3 in the East. Who knows what could happen? And then bam, you lose Giannis for a game at least, maybe 2. Who knows what's going to happen there? But that's a little bit of a disaster for the Bucks. So you can see, look, in this East Conference at the moment, it is weirdly competitive because outside of the top 2 teams, everybody's kind of scuffling along trying to figure out what they are. And it's a morass. It's a morass in the East. And you want to lift yourself above the morass. And without Giannis, it's going to be pretty hard to do. So a tough one for the Bucks there. And then Derrick Jones Jr. was also ruled out for the Clippers. He's out with a sprained MCL for about 6 weeks, which is a bit tough one. But on the good side of the injury ledger, this is all the news today, really. Paul George came back for the Sixers. Don't know if that's a good thing, but he did come back. LeBron James, he's coming back. He's listed as a doubtful, probable, perhaps he might come back this week. That's kind of interesting for the Lakers, isn't it? That's probably good, I guess. Sure. And then Brandon Spindles-Miller could be back for the Charlotte Hornets, which, look, the way Con the Nipple Knipple is playing, I don't know if you need Brandon Spindles-Miller at this point, but the Hornets do just need good players, and he is good. So if he comes back this week, that's a really good sign for this Hornets team that really was awesome against the Raptors today. So, cool. Good news there. Good news. Right. Very quickly, the game wraps from today. Who did what, Jim? Well, the Bucks fell short against Cleveland, 118-106. They got curb stomped in the fourth quarter. They actually led. I'll talk about Lonzo and his big three that sort of set off the Cavs later on. Cavs are now 10-5, looking pretty good. And this is why the Bucks, look, you've got zero margin for error in these. They're 8-7, right? It's pretty hard, isn't it? Ryan Rollins is still good. But anyway, Donnie Mitchell goes off his head. He had 37-7. Pacers fall very short against the Pistons. Pistons out there with like Jalen Duren coming back and looking like, I don't know, prime Dwight Howard. It was crazy. 127-112. Pistons stomp them. That's a 10-game winning streak. They're 12-2. The Pacers are 1-13. Pack her up, boys. Your season's done. The Clippers fell short against the Sixers despite, Fat Man Who Barely Clan. James Harden having 2 chances to hit the game-winning 3. Missed them both. He was fouled on the first one, but still, great game by the Sixers. Came flying back in this. Outscored them 37-25 in the fourth quarter. Maxey drops 39. Awesome win for the Sixers. VJ Edgecombe looked really good too. Paul George sort of stunk it up. Knicks Miami was radical. 115-113. The Heat hold on to win because Khalil Ware blocked a Karl Anthony Towns shot late. There's a chaos ending. They get 2 shots to tie it up to the Knicks. Miss them both. Scramble for the rebound. Heat win. That was huge. Charlotte, as I said, went really, really, really close to beating Toronto in Toronto. 110-108. Oh boy, Charlotte are fun. They really are. Now they've got LaMelo back. They're just going to be an absolute whirring chaos engine of death. Can't wait. Get me some Spindles Miller. Con Knipple was absolutely crushing it. Kalkbrenner, I don't know. He got absolutely eaten up by Brandon Ingram, who was really good. Scotty Barnes had this awesome block at the very end. Ingram had a sick block on Kalkbrenner too. Good win for the Raptors, though, to hold on. Dallas got curb stomped by the Minnesota Timberwolves, 120-96. Absolute smashing. They had no big guys, and Minnesota went, that's cute. No Gafford, no AD, obviously, and no Derek Lively. Don't mind if I do. Naz Reid went off. 126-109, the Oklahoma City Thunder killed the Pelicans, and then we had an absolute ripper. Chicago-Denver, huge win for Chicago, 130-127. You've got Josh Giddey up against Nikola Jokic. You got Vucci Main hitting a massive 3. He couldn't hit a shot all night, then buries the biggest 3 of the game. It was psycho. But it came right down to the wire. Denver pushed them right to the brink. That's a huge win for Chicago on a back-to-back on the road in Denver, snapping a 5-game losing streak. I was making fun of them on yesterday's NBA Straya, saying 6-6. Parity is restored to the universe. The Bulls are 500. Now they're back up above 500. They're 7-6. Huge win there. All right, let's do an NBA Straya pre-performance of the night, though.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
That's a bloody knife. I'll tell you what. Donnie Mitchell, 37, 5-7, 14-22 from the floor, 4 of 8 from 3. Absolutely put one on the Bucks. Maxey goes off his head, 39 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, shot the hell out of it, 13-27, led the Sixers from down plenty against the Clippers to get the win. Jalen Duren in that huge win for the Pistons, he had 31-15, the first player since Dwight Howard in 2010 to have a 30-plus point, 15 rebound game on 90% shooting from the floor. Absolutely absurd stuff. And that's also the Pistons' first 10-game win streak since 2007, 2008. Lord, that's amazing. I love this Pistons team. And of course, look, Jokic was incredible in that game against Chicago, despite the fact that they lost. What did he actually end up with? It was quite a large number. He finishes with 36 points, 18 rebounds, and 13 assists. But they lose. That's right. Because Josh Giddey, giddy up. There's 21, 14, and 6. Yo, Beauty. Giddy up. Don't mind that. And how good, I'll talk about some other guys later, but Khalil Ware, crushing it. He was really good today as well. He had 16 and 14 with 3 blocks. Who was Spud of the night, though?
Spud. Spud it is Spud. Spud of the night.
Spud of the night. Look, I mentioned Vucci Main. He really struggled. He ends up 3 of 13 from the floor today, did Nikola Vucevic. But still, hit the game, stay ahead 3 that really, really mattered. Otherwise, how about an 0 of 6 for Justin Edwards? That was pretty tough. 2 of 11 for Landry Shamit. 2 of 9 in his return for Paul George. He hasn't missed a trick, has he? And 3 of 15 for Andrew Wiggins. Yeesh, but they still won. My favourite spud of the night, however, was James Harden, who, look, I'm no math magician, but 7 of 25 is particularly bad shooting. And I figured, well, just how bad, Jim? And I'll tell you what, that's literally the worst high-volume shooting night of the season so far. That's right. We've had 2 7 of 24 outings, but no one has shot as many field goals and hit so few so far this season, right? 28%. Yeah, we've had people shoot worse than 28%, but not on 25 attempts in a game. He hit 7. That's absolutely crazy from James Harden. And it's against Philly. The world not exactly knocking down the door as like the world's greatest defense so far this season. So, Fat Man Who Clan strikes again. But I would very much like to thank our very good friend. I'd like to have a beer with Duncan Robinson because he went and shot the magic number today. What did he shoot from 3? Oh, yeah. Cheer. Woo! He shot 311. Ew, beauty. Who was old mate no mates today, though?
Old mate, no mates. Old mate, no mates.
Old mate, no mates.
Old mate, no mates.
Old mate, no mates.
Old mate, no mates.
Who's got no mates today? Well, probably my favourite example of old mate no mates today is James Harden, basically not knowing who he's starting with in the Clippers. He's like, who was that other guy that we had starting? And they're like, you're starting like guard next to Kobe Sanders? And he's like, yeah, who is that dude? That's brutal. But also, James Harden not getting that foul call on that second last shot of the game where he clearly gets tapped on the elbow. No call on the game winner. I'm fine with it. This is like such a perfect old mate, no mates position for him to find himself in, right? Because that's the refs just going, you know what? For years and years and years, I've watched this moron with the giant beard, not Jim, James Harden, flop, carry on like a pork chop and just be an absolute sausage. And guess what? I'm not going to give him the game-winning free throws. I'm just not. So great no call by the refs. I'll pay that. Fantastic. He's old mate, no mates. Guess what? It's boy cried wolf. Or in this case, the beard that cried wolf. Yeah, it tracks. All right, pantsing of the night. Oh my God, I think I tweeted about this one. An all-time pantsing night for Ryan Kalkbrenner, the big man for the Charlotte Hornets. He got twice by Brandon Ingram on both ends. One, he got absolutely yammed on with his sick dunk by Spindles Ingram, which was just radical. But then the other one was a block at the end. Kalkbrenner's got the game-tying dunk under the basket, and Brandon Spindles Ingram comes flying in out of absolutely bloody nowhere. He goes, nope! Slaps it up against the backboard, almost wedges it into oblivion. It was like, that is an all-time pantsing because that's a game-tying dunk. You're 7 foot like a billion, Kalkbrenner. And you can see him just go, I should just dunk this. He goes to and gets absolutely noped by Brandon Ingram. Which is like, it doesn't help that he's like a big doofy white dude, right? And Ingram's like just coming for him. Nah, get out of here, Kush. Got him. Poor Ryan Kalkbrenner. Pour one out. He got double pantsed. All-timer too. Finally, better than Lonzo Ball, Ben Simmons, and Bronny James today.
Lonzo was the best player in high school. He was the best player in college. You think he'll get to the pros and be like, I made it to the pros, now I can be average. He's coming for everybody.
Coming for everybody. Look, Lonzo had a pretty interesting game today. He only scored 6 points, went 2 of 8 from the floor, 1 of 6 from 3. He had 5 assists and a turnover, right? But he broke AJ Green's ankles a little bit, just sent him flying into the cosmos with a stop and pop. Hits the 3, absolutely smokes it. And he broke the game from there as well because the Cavs were down 86-85 with about 40 seconds left in the third quarter. And then they just stomped them from there on. It was Lonzo's 3 that actually sort of broke that open. But anyway, that's kind of neat. But I'd also, look, we've got some other better ones today. Dennis Jenkins, absolutely crushing it for the Detroit Basketball Pistons. 26 points. That's a career high. He's an absolute weapon. Like, just build around Dennis. Trade Kay Cunningham at this point. 8 assists, 11 to 21 shooting. He was absolutely unreal. Kobe Sanders, I just mentioned him for the Clippers as well. In his first career start, only his 6th game, 17 1-1, goes 45, 42, 100 in his shooting splits. Absolutely awesome. Great job, Kobe Sanders. Kobe! But I want to give this one, Con the Nipple Knipple. Con Nipple, he was absolutely off his head today. He's also hit the most threes to start a career in NBA history. Like halfway through the game today, he had 43 career threes. That's the most as anyone's ever hit in their first 16 games in NBA. Like, seriously, it was like Knipple's 14th game. Absolutely, he was awesome. Talk about Rookie of the Year candidacy. I love VJ Edgecombe. Con the Nipple Knipples making himself heard. He had 24, 7 and 1, 3 steals. It might have even been 4 steals, I think, by the end. He had an awesome game. And he's unstoppable. 9 of 16 from the floor, 4 of 10, 3 steals. I thought he had 4, but there you go. Con the Nipple Knipple today. Better than Lonzo Ball, Ben Simmons, and Bronny James combined. Right, what about the Aussie player watch? What do the Aussies get up to? I already mentioned Josh Giddey. Awesome game against Denver. 21, 14, and 6. Shot 8 of 12 from the floor. Missed both these threes, but you get that on the big jobs. We also had Jinglin' Joe Ingles up against Dallas. No Dante Exum, of course, for Dallas. Still recuperating from his, his knee. 7 minutes for Jingles. He had 1 assist and 1 steal. Congratulations, Dallas. You just got jingled. Johnny Furphy's still out. He didn't play against Detroit either. And Tyrese Proctor, a cop that did not play coach's decision against Milwaukee. That's because Lonzo had one of his, rostered days on. When he has his RDOs, Tyrese Proctor gets the call up. Right, what about tomorrow's games? Very quickly, let's get into it. We have Golden State at Orlando. Remember, you can follow all of our picks over at Double. Use the code NBA Straya. You can follow all the ones that we've got. We're doing pretty well. It's like over 56% against the spread this year, which is really good. Go there, check it out. You can sign up using the link in our show description or in our social bios. Tell them we sent you by using the code NBA Straya. You can follow along as well. So Golden State playing Orlando tomorrow. Interesting matchup, right? Orlando looked a little bit better last week or two. Golden State, just game to game, you just don't really know what you're going to get, but they've been pretty solid. They're 3.5-point favorites on the road. Do they have the size to match up with Orlando? Will their defense kick in? I kind of think they can. I think they're the sort of team that can sort of like maybe make someone like Jalen Suggs beat you, and I don't know if Jalen Suggs is in the right spot this early in the season to be coming out and beating a team. But Orlando look feisty. So, look, Suggs, Bane, Franz Wagner, no Paolo. I think I'm still going to take Golden State to win a close one, but it's -3.5. We'll take Golden State with that one. Boston go to Brooklyn and will more than likely absolutely beat their heads in. They're 10.5-point favorites on the road in Brooklyn. It's not going to be on the road. You're going to be, look, having spent 6 years going to Brooklyn Nets games day in, day out, when Boston roll in, doesn't matter how good Brooklyn is, like it's like 60% Boston fans. So Celtics will win that and win it pretty easily, I reckon. -10.5 in a heartbeat. Detroit Atlanta. This is a really fun game. I actually don't mind the Hawks. They're +1.5 in this game. The way that they sort of look, Detroit on a back-to-back, yeah, I get that, but missing a bunch of their dudes still, of course. Atlanta have got a lot of size to throw at someone like Jalen Duren between Onyeka Okongwu, Zachary Risache, and Co. Even Dyson Daniels out there. I'm going to take the Hawks +1.5 at home. Then we have San Antonio versus Memphis. Two teams that literally just lost their superstars, right? Wemby's out, Ja's out. I'm going to take San Antonio. Just I feel like their depth is a little bit more solid. You put in Cornette and Kelly Olynyk. They're not going to replace Wemby, of course, but they're solid just stand-in. So let's go the Spurs there. The Utah Jazz. It's a soft J. Go to LA to take on the Lakers. They're 12.5-point underdogs. I feel like beyond, Larry Markin and Keontae George, Utah can keep that one close, can't they? Can't they? Can't they? Yes, I reckon they can. I'm going to take Utah +12.5. And then Phoenix visit Portland. Awesome game. Phoenix have been very, very, very good lately. They're 1.5-point favorites. Jrue Holiday is questionable for this game. If he does not play, I'm taking Phoenix. If he does play, he might be a little bit limited, so I'm probably still going to go with Phoenix. So there you go. You can follow all of our picks for tomorrow over at Double. Check them all out. Use that code NBA Straya if you sign up. Check it all out. But there you go. That is the best and worst for the NBA today. Tune into all of the big NBA Straya shows every day for everything NBA. That's what we do on NBA Straya. Subscribe or I'll fight you. You know what to do. Like, star, subscribe, comment. Send us through some yeah-nahs for the big shows. Off you go. All right, this is NBA Straya saying, look after yourselves, would ya? And later, hosen.